Double KO.
Alright, so hey guys, welcome to Doublekoradio, and today we're going to be going through the Guilty Gear Strive Developers Backyard 5. How often do these come out? Whenever they feel like they need to say something?
But they're updates.
Yeah, they just feel like it's a way to get more insight for the people interested in the game on how the development process is going for them. And David and I recently had played a lot of the beta, more than the last time they had a beta, because we were both interested in the game. If you watched our previous podcast, we go into the detail about Guilty Gear and all the games we're interested in at the moment. There's a lot of info that they gave us from the, what was it? The
Oh, it was a survey. It was
from the survey. That's the word. I was missing the word. So
it was a survey.
So from this survey that they asked of people to do, I think over like 51,000 people.
51K.
Yeah, which is a ton. You know, you don't see 51 people on Steam concurrently playing a game at any given time if it's a fighting game, right? So a ton of people decided to give their feedback on the game, which is great. So we're going to delve into that. But before we do, real quick, a little bit of info I forgot to tell you guys in the last podcast. The channel is in process of updating. Recently we updated the logo on the channel, the little logo, the banner, the info that's been down there that auto gets put in,
autofill
that auto fills in the bottom, has been there for like 2 years, so it's not been updated. The Teespring hasn't been updated. That was just a thing I plopped up to see with just kind of generic kind of things in there to see if it would be something I'd be interested in doing, but I haven't really been into it. So who knows? Maybe it'll stay there. Maybe I'll update it. If it does, I'll be more adamant about letting people know during the actual videos instead of just kind of having it be
just there.
Information like in an area where people don't even look at most of the time, right? So things like that. The waifu tournament, didn't mention when I would start that up again. It's gonna be after all the Eustace videos. Eustace is coming out for Grand Blue Fantasy this Monday technically, but it's Tuesday, but it's like a day early because it's in another country, another time zone. So after those anytime those moments come up where there's a bunch of videos that I usually put out, that takes a lot of hours. So I don't want to split the time frame between having those out for you guys. And I think that was it. All right, so
Developer Backyard.
Developer Backyard. Guide us through it, David.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where are we going to the?
So we're definitely gonna go a couple of sections in here that we're gonna go by. We're definitely gonna show on screen. And what we're not gonna read through it all, but it's basically some very important details that they're giving us directly from these surveys, and what it meant to them, and then what it means to us too, right? Like as players, as you know, as part of the community and all that stuff. And we just want to present it to you guys and see what you guys think about it. Let's start with the first one, right? Which it says they started with a couple of intro about the beta, and then it goes like, what character was used the most was one of the questions, and what character do you like the most, right? And Ramental seems to be like the most consistent character across multiple regions, right? Like Ramental was in multiple ways mentioned number one, and then you got Sol and Giovanna, and then you got Kai and Giovanna again. But Ramental keeps showing up. You keep looking at her, and she keeps showing up. The only one that was very consistent that they used the most at 5th place was Nagoriyuki, right? And then they did mention also that a new character, like when you get a brand new character into a series, it's normally harder for them to be the ones that is the most used, because people normally go with things they know, like characters that are legacy characters or anything like that.
Like Sol and Kai.
Correct. But in this case, still Ramental was on top of that, right? Which is kind of strange and bizarre because she was a character new in the previous one, in 2 iterations before. And she was a likable character, right? But it wasn't a character you always see in tournaments or something like that, right? Like constantly as the other ones. So that was a surprise for me, at least. So people I guess they did something right with Ramental, right? Like maybe the design, you know, if you ask me, I think the ease of use that they put for her maybe made it that it was easier for people to use it the most. Maybe people were interested in now seeing how a character was so much more approachable now with the theme of Strive, right? Being more accessible. than what she was in her previous game. That she was a little bit more difficult and less ease of use to use her, right, in the previous game. So I think that's what bumped this character the most, right? What do you think that people use the most this character?
Thigh physics.
That's amazing. They look amazing, and she has a puppy. They give her everything to
Yeah,
win.
that's like dog lovers. Okay, that's my main. That's why Giovanna's there too. She had a dog. She's brand new. She's a
Yeah.
waifu, easy to use. She's pretty much kind of like a gorilla. Ramathal, easy to use again. Like before, of course, to some people, it was like a more difficult game. She was one of the more difficult characters to use, more complicated.
Very
And
technical.
now
Mhm.
all these reasons people were kind of getting riled up about Ramathal and her design now that out of the Guilty Gear OGs, because they're like saying they gutted her, they tore her down, they stripped her down. But it's obvious that whatever, she was regarded as being strong, and she's regarded as not being as hard to use or fun to use, easily understandable. So it's put her up to the top.
It does.
It's almost like having a new character too. 'Cause people
Exactly.
are interested in how much they change her. Like Soul and Kai, did they change them up a bit? Yes, but there's
did.
definitely a lot more differences from previous Ram to how Ram is now.
I think and this is right, one of the things that really excite me about this game is um the theme of this developers, right, is always has been, they've been very crystal clear. We want everyone to play this game, and that's not saying that it's an easy game. It's just, to be honest, he's probably tired of making such a great game and people not playing it. So he's like, okay, so what is gonna take for these people to play this game? What do you guys need? So even if when people were like, oh, they gutted Ramen Tao, now she in those characters trailers, that they show, oh, she's not doing the moves or the combos she used to do before. But look at that was all talk, because she was not only the most used, also the most used during the character, and the character that they like the most. Like, that's the numbers don't lie, right? Like, it's showing there that disregarding of everyone saying that they're gutting characters, that they're taking their essence of the characters for what their legacy was, or now it's just gonna be not the same character. That's not my Ramen Tao, or something like that. And that meant nothing. That meant that even you can go to a new direction towards an older character, right? That people already play in two versions, and still make it fun. Still make it that actually more people can try her, because now she has tools that mostly can use, instead of a small circle being able to use this character, right?
Yeah.
Or at least to the level of enjoyment. And it shows. Look, it shows she's somewhere type of Soul, right? And Soul, for those that is the protagonist of this game, right? Or, well, I don't know if of this game, but normally of the Guilty Gear series, normally the protagonist, or among the protagonists, and he's still second, right? That's
Yeah.
like saying like Ryu is not being played online, right? Like, he's still being played by millions of people,
Yeah, like for years, and like for Street Fighter 5, they come out with this graph every month or so about like who's getting used online and all that stuff. And no matter how bad they've made, because Ryu's notoriously
Normal,
not
right?
yeah, notoriously not exceeding in any kind of way in
It's
in
purposely
that
made like
series.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And no matter what, he's still the most used character. And the other two that are next to him are characters like him, like Ken and Akuma.
Yep, correct. So even like you mentioned, that even the playstyle didn't matter. I mean, the strength of his playstyle didn't matter, because he was still used, because he's a character that people like or love, right? So whatever they did with Ramen Tao, or hopefully I'm saying it right, Ram Lito, how they say it in the trailer.
Just say Ram. I mean, if you, I know you got
Right,
accent
Ram.
or whatever, but Ram is hard to fuck up.
Right. So Ram, they did great, and I think this goes also. This is a prime reflection of how the game direction is going by, right? Uh, the game, there was a lot of controversy in this game, as in it's not the same Guilty Gear. Remember that whole thing? Then people were like, so play the old Guilty Gear. It's actually on sale, and it has rollback, and it's all this great stuff. I just feel that what they did with Ramlito, right? It's a prime projection of how developers are going for this game, right? When they initially mentioned and show the game, there was a lot of stigma between it's not the old game, and he just mentioned, hey, just give us a chance. Let us show you us our new direction, right? And it seems like the new direction is paying off because Ram, right now completely changed from some of the gameplay that she used to do. Now it's more accessible, it's the most used, and it's the most liked character. So congratulations, that says a lot. You did what you were intended to do, right? You get a character that most people barely play to now a character that is actually people enjoying the most and like the most consistently both. That's OD, dude. You know, it's not like one part of it. They won both part of that survey,
Yeah.
which is great, you know. Because I was gonna say basically it's just go hands to hand, and actually Katano says it there, right? We asked both character enjoying plays the most, especially, but the answers were more or less similar for both, right? Ram is extremely popular in every region, it seems. For the following modes in the beta, they did had versus mode, which was locally, tutorial, which was something briefly that they show you how to do certain move, which was awesome. The fact that it took a little bit of the Grand Blue aspect that it shows you visually how the move looks, like a little video. I think I like that a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, people need that.
There's some people that learn visually. Oh, that's what is that? You know, that's what that moves. And instead of doing a move and be like, is that it? You know,
and then you second guess.
They had network mode, which is the online lobby, which it was very notorious. They had network mode, which it was a quick match, which is something that you just queue up for the next match to be get ready for the next battle, like type of teching. And training mode, which is just playing it. So something very interesting that it shows me here. You have the graph there, right? Like it shows versus tutorial.
It's up, yeah.
So blue being very good, green average, yellow, orange bad, and red very bad, right?
And
like
these are all what people voted, guys. In case that wasn't clear too, this is
this part of the survey of the 51K people, right? They all summarize these things. And versus mode, which is like what you play locally, right? Being very positive, right? Being very good, over 60%. Tutorial mode is very, very low, right? Mostly good or average, right?
Yeah.
Network mode, which is online lobby. So this is not a surprise to me, right?
Can I say something about the tutorial mode?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think tutorial mode doesn't have that much for what they showed in the demo or in the beta, right? And there are a lot of fighting games, specifically for fighting game people, that always want more, like easy ways to record or make your characters do stuff. Frame data is a big one. They didn't have frame data, so automatically people were going kind of nuts. So for people who use training mode like that, it wasn't
pleasing.
It wasn't as optimal as they wanted it to be. And also with training mode, if they're talking about the tutorial, there's nothing really there to teach people who already are familiar with fighting games that they can't figure out themselves. And there's one thing about this, the people who play fighting games for a really long time, competitive, got to learn is, like, for this game specifically, I think they're put more on the back seat, and I think the people making Guilty Gear are looking at games like Mortal Kombat, and they want that money that Mortal Kombat's making from all of those, I guess what you call normies or whatever, like casuals, people that are just fanatics about that franchise, just to have the next Mortal Kombat game because they watch the movies or the TV shows or all this other type of media that Mortal Kombat has been in. And they want the people that take the game casually to not be overwhelmed by something as simple as system mechanics, you know?
Absolutely. Katano definitely touched a little bit on that, and you definitely hit it right on the nail. But I think, once again, that was the intention, right? It didn't want to be a library. But it's always a mix, right? How many people were going around and saying, you know, Guilty Gear XR has an amazing tutorial? Many did, right? What that end up? Nothing. That end up in nothing. That end up in no sales on the game. That end up in people actually being afraid of it because they were like, I gotta study for this? Nah. The game is teaching me so much. Can I just press buttons and play the game?
Yeah, and to be honest, another game that was even more praised for its tutorials was Under Night. And Under Night, there's just so much that they try to teach you, which is good that they're trying to teach you, because they put so much emphasis on I guess making people better and understanding the game, because certain things are hard to kind of get into that mindset when you're brand new into fighting games. But that still, even with that, it's a difficult enough game that you just have to be a fighting game player, try hard purist, whatever, that finds difficulty in these games fun. Like the difficulty part, the hard road and all that stuff, that kind of stuff is fun for you, but it's not fun for the masses. There's a big change coming with these fighting games.
That's what I'm saying, and thank you for saying that. The big changes, right? Strive seems like it saw the light in the tunnel, and it's basically trying, not in a bad way, but to prove a point, right? They're doing things in a way that they're showing you by being passive aggressive, showing you, look, this is still works. It's not what you used to know or remember, but give it a try. I think that's the message here. Give it a try. Try it. Try it before you knock it. This is. I know it may not seem what you know or had years and years of experiencing, but there's a reason we're doing this for, right? Now, the thing that surprised me the most, the highest percentage of tutorial mode is average, right? It's average. The tutorial is average, which it confuses me. It confuses me because if you go to the tutorial, it still has a lot of options. You can have the character do certain actions. You can have the character counter you in certain actions by specific moves or attacks. You know, you can have the character do like just defense and do those things. For me, something that is good or average would be something that is just lets you hit someone and change position from left to right, put meter and change health bars.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. That's an average thing to me for tutorial mode. And this tutorial here, in this tutorial, it would have been something that just tells you, hey, press A, B, jump here, crouch here. You know, that's it. Here, it actually tells you why. Man, that was a loud noise.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like they went more the route of, dude, there could be a lot of people that have never even heard of Guilty Gear picking this game up because it's the first next gen, like the first real official next gen fighting game that's out. So people that haven't bought the game, we're gonna have access to it.
Yes, full access. We're gonna have everything. So, but the tutorial mode in this game, I think it teaches you what they want them to teach you. You get me? I don't know how to say it. It's like, let's say you're going to do an adventure or something. You'd be like, yo, what do I have to know? You'd be like, you got to do this, you got to know this, you got to know the weather, you got to know this, you got to know the climate, you got to how the height, the width, all this underground. And instead of be like, yo, you need to make sure you have a backpack. You need to make sure you have water. You need to make sure you have these 4 things.
Get some
and
sleep.
Go as you go. yeah. And go and and learn as you go type of thing. You know, they're not trying to overwhelm you. And I think that's something that they learned from their previous game.
And this is another thing too. This is a limited time beta, demo, whatever. So people are coming in there having a limited time to play, and they want people to just go play the game so they could collect their data.
Correct.
And
so in tutorial mode, they might not collect as much data as they will be in the online lobbies or quick match and stuff like that. You're absolutely right. So, well, they did mention they're going to make some changes into that. They're taking all into consideration. I was just still surprised that people think, so if this is average, a tutorial, this is average, I hope they're not writing, oh, we want to know more, because then that's what they're complaining about it. You get me? It's just completely the opposite. But anyway, network mode, which is the online lobby, right? This is the big one, guys. So the online lobby. This is
the reason it got delayed.
Yeah. the online lobby, not sure if you guys know, we mentioned the first time we streamed it, when we talk about it right away, how it's something we didn't like, right? Something that we didn't understood why it was like that, right? You have these characters, these avatars, you have these lobbies, and regardless how it looks, we just wanted it to work. And that's the part that it wasn't working, right? If you get too close to someone, it didn't work. You just didn't match you with someone, it give you an error. Anyway, like
everybody was loaded in at different times, so like if you're moving a certain way on my screen, you could have done it already, or you haven't done it yet. So
but you don't know.
So our it was like some flashpoint shit. Like it was just like, our both worlds are
Colliding.
are coexisting as one, but not really there.
Yep. And so it's not surprising that it was mostly very bad, right? And then some people say good and average, right? So that's not surprising there. But they say again that they still feel that they let people down because of even with the changes that they made, it's not an experience that people enjoy, and they have in consideration the things they want to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the things they want to change are still not the lobby. You get me?
Yeah.
It's like they're stuck with this, and there's no way for them to get out.
No, this would
So
take
they,
a lot, like hundreds of man hours to rework if
yep,
if it's to the point of how people wanted it.
the game will have to get delayed again
Yeah.
for something like this. Now, the reason we say this is because the direction they're going by is to clean up what is already a mess, right? So two things I see it happening. I see it happening. So the change they're making the game that you can dash now in the lobby system. You can actually dash, like go quickly, move between places. They're making it bigger, more space. They're making it that if you finish a match, you stay in the same location, because what would happen is you will finish a match and they'll be like, you teleport somewhere, be like, yo, Paul, where you at? And you'll be like, I'm right here. Be like, no, you're not. And then it go whole flashpoint thing happens, and then you don't know where it is. And then you're like, are you ready? No, okay, I'm gonna ready up. All that thing that didn't work. They're trying to clean up that by after you finish a match, you stay in the same location and ready to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
To be honest, like I wouldn't have even noticed. You know, I wouldn't have had that big of a deal with the lobbies if it wasn't just for the displacement of all of the people being in a place and not, you know, but not being in a place. That's like the only thing they really needed to fix for me to just deal with the lobby. Not to say that it's good or how I would prefer to matchmake with people, but to at least not even think of it as being something inherently bad in the game. It's just like, okay, this is how the lobby is, because this is Arxis, and they always have little chibi versions of stuff in lobbies and shit like that.
Correct. So, and that's what I was saying. I was like, oh, maybe they would change from the first beta to something that they knew with a structure that they're ready, the blueprints that they have from the previous game, and just make it that. But it seems they're stuck with this, right?
Yeah, because it was almost like a year.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's the same exact thing. Okay. Their resources were elsewhere, obviously.
It just works better, right? It just felt like something that tasted bad and they just put ketchup on it, and or if you like ketchup, whatever sauce on it, and now it tastes better.
Yeah.
I think so. What is gonna happen is two things, right? I'm thinking people are gonna continually dreadful hate it, and they're gonna bash and shame this part of the game forever, or they're gonna get accustomed to it because it works.
Yeah. Almost like the Dragon Ball lobby. The Dragon Ball lobby I never liked. It's a little weird, but
atrocious. Yeah.
But like, let's say remember when we talked to DG about certain things on how the game works, he's so used to it that he didn't really understand where we were coming from.
Correct.
It's just like, it's just like, dude, I got like he's used to it, so he doesn't even think about that first moment where he had any kind of confusion on where to go for that. Why is this here? What is this going to be used for? All these questions that should be clear to somebody looking at something for the first time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm thinking is it's going to happen is like if it works, then people are going to be more persuasive to be more like, well, this is what, like you mentioned, this is what we got to do, you know?
Yeah.
So them adding a rematch option, I think is fantastic, right? Because if you rematch, then you don't have to see the lobby.
Yeah.
You know, it's just those little things that maybe are subtle.
Especially in like something like the park, right? Like in the park area of the lobbies, you're mainly gonna be playing with like either like if you're a big streamer, you're people that want to play you or line up for you, or if you're like just chilling with your boy, like let's run a first to 10 or something like that, and then you could just keep matchmaking without less loading, less time in between matches. So
yeah,
it only makes sense, but it's such a weird thing to not be there because everybody's like literally universally everybody's like, well, where's rematch? Why isn't rematch here? Rematch is always here and everything else. Where is it?
Correct. It just didn't make sense as in why it wasn't, right? So that's why I'm thinking that they're just gonna clean it up well, and it's just gonna work the best version that it can.
Yeah.
And people are just gonna, like I mentioned, either hate and continue shaming, or just gonna be something gonna be like, well, you know what, it is what it is, and we can just rematch whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the least pretty part of the game.
Yeah.
So not surprised that it was really low for that. Now network quick match was, that's what I don't get. So network quick match was much better, much higher as a very good, but it's still even less than 40%, right?
Well, you go ahead, but I have things to, because
Gotcha.
that's mainly where
Because
what
of the-
I used.
Correct. Me too.
match
So
me.
I'm thinking the network rematch also got hit. It works better, but it got hit with the hey, we don't have a rematch button here, right? So the loading of going back into that. But for me personally, it wasn't no issue. Actually, it didn't even let me train because there were so many people coming in and going to play. The only thing I would say maybe it didn't work as well. Sometimes I will queue up as a specific character before I even do that. And sometimes when the quick match will come up, it will put me as a soul bad guy or Kai. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, why is that happening? Mind you, just little
but
bugs or
that's like
issues
a
might
bug,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah, correct. My
The-
bugs and issue.
the
But
only
that
thing-
never hindered my gameplay of that.
The only thing I would say is like there's no rematch button, but sometimes the way matchmaking work, it feels like there is one because you keep coming across the same person.
So I
And it-
heard or find out, and I'm sorry to cut you off, that it's because when you do quick match, you technically are still in that lobby.
Well, what if you never entered a lobby?
But you have to click when you go to the thing in quick match, it probably puts you to an auto lobby.
Well, that's what I was gonna get into, cause like there'd be moments where I'm kicked out of the quick matching. I'm just there doing my thing, coming across people, and then there's this, and it was the last day too. The last day where I really noticed, because I was getting similar people over and over again, and I'm like, I get kicked out, and I'm like, okay, I'm in this floor. They put you on the floor that you're
Rated in.
you're rated in or whatever.
Mhm.
And then when I get out, I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, wait, I just played that guy. And then I'm walking around my avatar instead of just immediately getting out because I was interested. I'm like, let me see who else is in this lobby. And then I'm looking, I'm like, I played that guy too. I played this guy. So basically you're matching up anyway with people that would be on the 10th floor. Well, I mean with the floor. Sorry, I was in the 10th floor. So in the 10th in the floor that you put yourself in, that you're ranked in or whatever. So I just thought that was really weird because I'm assuming I'm trying to get paired up with people that are also in their training room before even getting into a lobby. But I don't know, or maybe you kind of are, but then like they're still trying to push there.
Your game, yeah.
But then like maybe there's an error because I got kicked into a lobby. I didn't get kicked out of a lobby. So I think that's also a bug. So I think if you get kicked into a lobby, it just puts you wherever you're ranked.
Yeah. That happened to one of our friend of ours, Daikin Xdan, right? I met him in a random, quick play. And I'm like, oh, that's one of the guys I know. And I play him, whatever match, finish. And then I start again, quick match. And guess who I match again? With him. I was like, okay, maybe it's two people. Dude, I played like 10 games like that. I'm like,
yeah, he just kept coming up two different people.
Yep. And I'm like, well, then, okay, then I guess it's us. And that's when I figured out, I was like, wait, he's in the lobby. So that's what's happening. Maybe that's a way that they figured out how to get you as many quick matches as they could. That's the option, quick match. So you get whatever quick match is there.
Yeah.
So for me, is that. Then training mode was quite high, right? I think training mode was okay for me. I think it gave me good information for me to dwell in it a little bit longer than just press a couple of buttons and leave, like Sam Show or something like any other game like that.
Yeah, this game is like, even though the characters aren't as complicated or as full as they were before, like this is one of the reasons like we feel like we're gonna be really delving into this game, because there's like a mixture of like a good balance, not a mixture, like there's a balance of how much
simplicity.
You lab, how much you can just play, how much you can freestyle during the match. There isn't like a strict like a too strict guideline on how to play the character.
Correct. You gotta learn it's not like you gotta learn your combo. You gotta learn your super to super.
They're
it's
like
not any of that.
Like let's say like there was a long time ago, this guy had a comment and asked me about combos. Like he had an issue with a combo or whatever, and he was brand new, and it was for Grand Blue, and I'm like, dude, just press light, and do a special move, or just press medium, do a special move. to start them out. Just be like, you can't really do that with Guilty Gear because even with the lack of, I guess, Gatlings and stuff like that, there's still more to it than that.
Yeah.
So
I think, once again, I think maybe that was purposely made like that, right?
Yeah.
They want you to be that you can learn the moves, learn certain things, and play the game, or you can spend a little bit more time and maybe learn certain routes and certain things that the average person wouldn't. It still gives you that room of that. If it wasn't that it didn't allow you to, then I'll be like, but it still allows you to do setups. People are finding Oki, which is the thing of, when you get up, maybe you're in a situation. Yeah. And even if it's less than what is the previous interaction, I think it's in a balance that, like you mentioned, you can or cannot do that, right? And you still can be somewhat successful, right? You're always going to be more successful if you train more, right? At least that's the intention. But at least they don't want you to feel that is mandatory.
Yeah.
And we talk about this a lot, right? It's going to be a little bit sidetracked, but just to go back into the initial point, many successful games in terms of selling and they're the talk of everything and they're very popular and everything have something in common. And it's that if you want to play the game allows you and makes it so accessible for you to do so. What does that mean? It means it will have like a big play button. It will say press start if you want to play here. A click here to play, everything. And that is shown in your face all the time. Go to a match here, click like a gigantic button and it's red and it has something.
Always trying to get you to put your friends in.
Yeah.
Hey, your friends are online.
Yep.
Click this one button to invite your friend, and your friend automatically gets put into wherever you are, so you can play with them.
Yep. You want to join your previous friends that you played before? Yeah. They're playing. You're not. Those are the most successful games because it makes you keep the interest inside the game instead of be like, well, what am I gonna do now? Well, it's saying play all over my screen. Maybe I should play the game. And I think that's the direction they went with this. That in a sort of way, they want you to just play the game. Just go there and play. And instead of do you need to learn what big super this does? No.
And to give one little comparison, we've mentioned this before, but all right. So compare the example we just gave on matchmaking for other games.
Yeah.
Let's say you want to play Dragon Ball, David.
But first, I gotta go through my first 3 intros. Like first 3 intros.
And then it puts you in a lobby. Whether you were there before or not, it just kind of puts you in the range of where you kind of usually play your region. And then you're like, you don't even know if your friends are on. So you got to either call them if you have a phone or see if they're on PlayStation. Like, if they're on PlayStation, you got to be like, what if they're in a chat already? You're going to go into the chat. Hey,
you wanna play some Dragon Ball?
Hi, people, other people I don't know, but you want to play some Dragon Ball?
I'll be mad rude. People that go to the party
you say you were going to be on, but you're not there. Oh, okay, you'll be on there? All right, which one are you going to be? I'm going to be in Lobby 64, USA West, the one that says Beginner Lobby 1, not Beginner
East Coast
Major Lobby 1. Don't get those two confused. Yeah, like it's so much. It's like so extra to just play with your friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only is harder to play with your friends, you're like, well, but you can just make a room and people can join you. They still gotta find you, and you gotta go to a lobby and choose. You have to click the button so many times.
You gotta hope somebody chooses your ring. You know what I mean?
But to create a ring, you also gotta customize how many matches you could press start. When the game is not making it accessible. In League of Legends, not sure if you guys know, it's a very popular game. It has a big play button. You click play. It tells you on rank or rank or non-rank, and then that's it. You queue up, and that's it. And you can do whatever you want. And there's friends because it's a different thing, right? There's friends. You can find them in the main page or whatever. But it's just more accessible,
Yeah.
And I just feel that indirectly they did this in this game. They were like, hey, don't dwell too much on that. Just go and play the game and enjoy it. And then maybe after you play the game, if you have the need and be like, I think I want to practice that thing he did to me.
I want to learn a little more.
Yes, they want it to be that you want to initiate that instead of them forcing you. Games that you start and it starts in a tutorial. I hated those. I hated games that you start the game, you press play, press X to start the game, and it goes to a tutorial, and you're like, what the fuck? I wanna skip the tutorial so then I can be lost and complain that I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I wanna do that,
But that's the thing too. Like, if I get one of those games that queue me up with a tutorial, right? Like I said, like first person action adventure games are notorious for that, right? I'm already pressing everything else before the game's telling me to see if I can, and they're like, okay, this is to walk, cool. All right, I'm jumping. Like before I get to like the next destination, I'm like, all right, I'm jumping. Which one's the run button?
Exploring.
Which one's aiming? Which one's that? Like trying to see if I can be ready for the next tutorial so I can just skip it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, that's aim, cool. I know that already because
and then you be like, how do I aim? How do I aim? And then go to the option, go to the tutorial. But yeah, I just feel that maybe it's not, or maybe I'm just reaching, right? But maybe in this direction of this game was, they really put their hands into, sorry, not their hands, their brain and their sight into what are this successful game have that mine doesn't.
Yeah.
So let's try to implement it in a way, because
it's something they should have been doing 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. And you're being humble by saying that.
As soon as KI started being praised for like having great internet, the other people should have been like, oh wait, these guys are having fun online.
Shaq's why?
Yeah. If I played my game online, maybe I would know that it's not so great online.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then you will have to patch it less. You will have to do less things, and that will struggle your game because you're just fixing a broken game. But yeah, anyway, so that's what I wanted to mention about that. I know.
Also, too, with the training stuff, I didn't even pay any attention to because the way I figured it, mission mode, if they do it this way, I'm assuming they're gonna do this. They're gonna do the usual mission mode, but maybe have a little bit more explanation on why you would do certain moves, when you would do certain moves or something like that, like some kind of explanation to the newer people to be like, hey, this is a combo you would do if you're in the corner, this is a combo you would do as a punishing when you try to anti-air and punish somebody that's jumping at you, stuff like that, almost like a BB tag
I was about to say
explanations like that.
I was about to say that, yeah, like, hey, this works for anti-airs, and I think maybe right in a better way, because the move sets in this game also gives you, hey, maybe you want to use this move more. Hey, this move does big damage. In the move description, it tells you that. That's really cool. Because let's say you go there, right? You don't know nothing about fighting games, or you know very little, and you go there, be like, this move, great. So why would I want to do this? This move is great to keep away, or oh, okay, I remember that move. I got to do that. And then it shows you visually what they do. I just think it's not perfect, but it's heading into a good direction, right?
Yeah, I think whoever anybody listening to anybody that has content when fighting games and talking fighting games and all that stuff, you got to take into account what kind of person they are and how much of a seasoned veteran they are, because because these kind of things they're beyond these things in a way, and all these things, like let's say that I'll mention this Mortal Kombat tournament that recently happened with a bunch of people that don't play fighting games were in it, but they're all correct. They're all
the AT&T one, yeah.
They're all like influencers or whatever, and they was their first time playing fighting games and all that stuff. This stuff is for them.
Yeah.
For everybody that's not used to this, that's not used to having a brain that just goes, oh, this is how this goes, and then I'm gonna connect the rest of the dots because I'm used to playing X amount of fighting games in my past. This is for them. This isn't for you guys anymore.
Yeah. And guess what? They need the people that they know they're ready. You're going to buy the game. Most likely you're going to buy the game.
Yeah.
But they need to reach to people that they haven't. And why? And they need to ask as a business person, why our game hasn't reached those people.
Yeah.
So once again, I'm not defending overall everything about the game, but I just think that these are changes that still needs to be needed, like a long time ago. This games, many people have the information that fighting games don't sell, and it's okay, so we know that, but why they don't sell? Why? Let's ask that. A random ass free to play game comes out that is a clone of 37 other games, is still probably more successful because it follows something. The ice cream truck is here. Follow something that people like and is successful. So why we're not doing that?
You need a break? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Let me see. Let me check my ice cream truck. Let me see what they're selling right now. But yeah, I just think that's what it is, man. All right. So now that we're here, please rate the following aspect, right? So multiple aspect of the game. There's more like the inside of it, right? The guts of the game, right? Character, visual, animation, stage. You see the things that you see on screen there, and of course, this game is beautiful. Everyone knows this.
Yeah, one of
At
the
least
most beautiful fighting games ever.
for real, dude. Like legit,
Easy.
And it's not just because it has, like cute anime girls or cute
No, it's
husbands
just
or
because the
whatever.
animations are top notch.
It's
The
because there's
visuals
so
are
much-
top notch.
yes.
The colors, the effort put into the character designs and the backgrounds and everything, all that stuff you can tell took time and had thought behind a lot of it.
Yes, and that's what I want to say. When I saw the pretty lights or pretty graphics, right, to put it the most simplistic way, it felt it had heart. It felt like, wow, this character is doing this because of this, and everything felt like it had a personality and a heart, and that's just from visual, right, without even dwelling into the characters, and then seeing that it actually matches their personality, right? Like how many times I was like, yo, bro, this game looks insane. And then I'll be like, yo, look
at this one move. Why does this one move have so many frames of animation?
And then once again, that's not maybe for everyone, but at least the graph show that a lot of people enjoy and love the character visual animations.
I think the people that don't like it, like the ones in that tiny little graph, it's just like maybe they're just not into anime, anime.
And they were trying it.
Yeah, but they still tried it and they're like, nah, I don't like anime.
Yeah, but at least they tried.
There's plenty of those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not that much.
No, there's plenty, dude. There's still plenty.
I just felt that the game is not just pretty, right? You can make a pretty game and still be soulless, right? You can still, and look, I'm gonna say it. You can make Mortal Kombat be as pretty as it is. Dude, when Mortal Kombat came out, best looking game of its genre, hands down, and still was fantastic. It just looks incredible, that game.
The character models are really impressive. The faces, like the faces they use, like the people they use to make all of their faces, amazing.
Insane. Like to the level that you're like, wow, this is incredible. Right? Imagine, actually, they have the guy that plays Shang Tsung, sorry that I forgot his name, and that alone was so high because of how well it looked, right? But anyway, great game. But and we always do on this, some of the animations does not color it with the character's visuals.
Yeah.
You have a super cool martial artist that is doing a grandma kick crouching, right? Like it looks like he has like a back problem from 70 years ago.
Yeah.
And then some cut corners between grabs that is just like Smash Brothers 64 or something like that. I did.
And some of the moves just look kind of impractical from like a martial arts point of view.
Correct. And I get it.
There's
it's
a lot
fantasy.
of martial arts going on in there, and yes, it is fantasy, but they're still all realistic, so it comes off kind of weirder.
But anyway, it's basically like that, right? They're fighting instead of using powers, right? Just physical. So, and then the thing that is also inconsistent. My dog is drinking water. Is a little bit inconsistent is that some of the animations are really good.
Yeah.
Some animations like, yo, this looks really cool. Oh, what happened there? Like type of thing, like it just looks like that's the inconsistency in there. Once again, I'm pretty sure NetherRealm is a fantastic studio and they're pioneers in many things. But I feel that this game, even though it's a different game, yeah, David, is a different animation, it's different, takes different things. But something that I can say that is very different is the consistency in the overall character animation between both games.
Yeah.
And I think this game nails that, right? A character will have an animation that will represent the character, right? I never saw an animation that be like, oh, why he's doing that?
And it's transitioning into stages. Also, like, also since you brought up Mortal Kombat, seeing is also a thing for me in the Mortal Kombat series, because the stages look great. There's a lot of detail back there. There's a lot of lore and a lot of
lore behind them, yeah.
But there's bad lighting because everything is so detailed. Everything's dark and gritty because it's like almost sci-fi horror kind of genre, but it's in a fighting game and they don't animate well, so things are just hard to see.
I agree.
That in itself is like a mix. Oh, he mixed me up because I can't fucking see him.
But then this other
damn you, Noob Saibot, why'd you choose this stage?
It's laughing because it's so true. I can't see. Like, it's not like, well, it's only you guys. No, there's certain stages that it is hard to see. That's not even a debate. But there's other stages that is much better, right?
20/20 vision most of my life. I can't see.
Yo, get good.
Just
then.
to put that into perspective, guys, most of my life, my eyesight has been perfect. On whatever these guys rate it in the what are these guys called? The eyeglasses people.
Whatever. I don't
Yeah,
know.
whatever they are. I've been perfect most of my life. I can't see.
Yeah, and you take in consideration these are legacy characters too, right? That you probably are aware or familiar with some of their moves, and you still can see, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Once again, stage graphics. So stage graphic was here. a
I
little
hate
bit lower.
lava stages because they don't let me see all the lava stages. Sorry.
No wait. Cinder and Ki, the new one, has a really bad lava stage, bro.
Yeah.
Really bad. I'm sorry, I'm crying.
I hate all of them. The Dragon Ball one. Every time I'm like, oh, this guy picked the lava stage and he's wearing all red. Thanks.
Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Thanks
Oh,
for
I
not
missed that.
thinking about that, guys.
So even though stage graphics are quite high, I think it's most positive, very good, right? There's still some that definitely say that, you know, they're good. You know,
But
they're good.
people are always going to want more, even though, like, this is going to be they're primarily good, but there's a lot of people that are going to want more in the stages. Like, let's say KOF 13 had a lot of shit in a lot of the backgrounds
Yep.
of their stages, right? Tons of people, tons of moving stuff. Even though the animations were repetitive,
But it's a lot.
there's a lot of stuff, cool stuff going on. In the other way, it's a Granblue. Granblue has cool stages. They're all very nice, but they're a lot more plain.
Yeah, more hollow.
Yeah,
more basic.
so I could see like there being like this is one of those preference kind of things where do you want a lot of stuff going on in the background? Do you want a little stuff going on in the background because you're a try hard sweat and don't want to see anything else? But this guy is where this guy's like hurt box is coming at you.
So this is something I don't get, right? So stage graphics, I think it should have been higher. And this is just me nitpicking. The game has stage transitions.
And weather effects.
Yeah. So the game
When you're in the desert, oh, check this out. Sound too, because of me doing like the stage video with Potemkin, that's when I realized there's different sound depending on what you're stepping on, whether it's water, sand,
and lighting.
Yeah, and the lighting is ridiculous.
Like this is stage, I remember like a cathedral or whatever. That was like, why my RAM looks kind of red here? And it was because the sun was hitting, not her directly, but something. When I went to the other side, it was like the lighting was different. It's
The same thing
incredible
with
stuff.
what's his name? Zato's stage. You get kind of gray towards when you get
Oh,
towards
yeah.
the corners of the stage, the walls.
So if I am gonna say something a little bit maybe negative, would be I think that the selection of stages, even though it's different, even though you transitions to them, I feel maybe the selection, the stages they selected to be in the game, maybe we're gonna see more. Maybe could it be more exciting stages?
Yeah.
You know, I
And
just think they could have been more exciting.
Some stages have more transitions than others too.
Yeah, I just feel like it could be more exciting, right? Like,
Yeah.
once again, other stages back in the day, and it doesn't have to be the same thing, but back in the day, you would see like a gigantic demon with all these things, and you're like, whoa, what the hell is gonna happen there? Why is this stage like that? Like, it instantly makes you wonder why you're in that stage.
You know what I think would have been cool for stages that would have got it's a really good score, but if you want something for people to be impressed, let a super move destroy some of the stage.
Oh, absolutely. Dragon Ball does that amazingly.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's super cool. Even a sample reflect. Like one of the stages, my favorite stages in this game was the My stage. I don't know if her stage, but it's the ship is in the backyard, in the back while you're ship, and then you see dolphins, but you see the people in the back doing stuff and moving, and this ship's going around in the clouds.
And there's audio too that makes you feel like you're up there. Like the way the ships are moving, the way the wind is hitting. Yeah, all that stuff adds to the atmosphere, and it looks so good.
I think that's one of my favorite stages, but it's still farewell, right? It's kind of high in there. Now, round star and windscreen visuals. So it's very good.
I'm surprised it's that high with how much people
Really?
I'm surprised it's that high with how much people complain about the UI. That's a part of the UI.
Okay, because I thought that was like they blame the beast and the thing.
Yeah, but that's all of it. Like when the characters
Heaven or
come in,
hell.
but all of that stuff has the same kind of style where it's less rock and rolly and all that
Yeah, it's
stuff.
more,
You know, it's not heavy metal, but nobody. I bet all the people complaining about that only listen to heavy metal when they play the game.
Yeah, I got
You know, like I'm a metalhead in a sense as well, and I just don't feel like they get that. Hey, how do I make this analogy? Hold on. Let's say you pass by a Hot Topic.
Okay.
That is definitely for a specific type of person, right?
Is my hair dye?
Yes.
Okay.
You're that type of person. That's why you're there. But you're with a friend that wants to go into Macy's.
Okay.
And she's like, Hot Topic. Everything's so dark and gritty and there's spikes on everything.
And then I flip my hair.
Yeah. And you wipe your mascara because you had a tear falling down and you didn't notice.
Because
you don't notice them
fall.
anymore. Yeah.
They crash around me.
So anyway, here's the analogy. There's people, like, if you see a Hot Topic, less people are less likely to go because it's specifically geared towards a specific type of person. But let's say you're in a Macy's and you spread out all these Hot Topic kind of things in that entire store. Like, let's say there's belts. Oh, there's like a spiky belt in the regular belts department, or there's like a black dress, or a cool like gothic t-shirt with the regular t-shirts, you know, like the way Guilty Gear is now is like there's a bunch of visuals that remind you of something you see in a mobile game or somewhere else, or like in Overwatch or something very popular, some kind of font or visual cue that makes people, like, gives people more familiarity around the stuff they've been around lately. There's still a lot of rock going on in there. You know, I'm surprised the music is still the same. All this shit should have been like hip hop, trip hop, like trap music and stuff. They should have put a rap song in here somewhere to have more people playing.
They would have fallen in flames.
Yo, you saw Snoop Dogg has a metal song in Guilty Gear.
I mean, that would be
awesome.
Hype,
but yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you gotta separate yourself from, this is the game I used to like. These guys are trying to make money this time around.
Yes.
And you're not enough money to give them all the money. They want all the money.
Yep.
So it has to be broader. The entire package has to be more universal towards the wider populace. I don't know how to say it. Like everybody, like they're trying to get more people to like, the masses.
Right, and it falls, and that's awesome because it falls into the same theme that I'm thinking that they're going for, right? That is more like, hey, we're trying something new, but we're trying to bring more people into our game. You know, our game is our godlike. Let's get more people here. How can we get them? Put the Hot Topic stuff on Macy's. That's the type of thing.
Hey, you guys don't have a Hot Topic? Oh, we got plenty of that stuff like spread around in the Macy's though. All right, I'll go in there and check it out.
Yep. And now you have both, right?
Yeah.
So windscreen visual, the only thing I gotta say is, even though it's quite high, I gotta say I was a fan of the when you do a win animation, which is really cool, like Grand Blue or the other Guilty Gear, and then if you skip it or not, it gives you to that win quote that you see the person that lost, and then you see the person that you are, right? You know, like, and then something directly said to them.
Yeah.
You know, I like that. But then again, you know me, I like those type of things that makes the world building, characters talking to each other. Doing special interests. And also
the special interests feel kind of weak right now.
I was about to say, because the direction of the game, that the interests are really cool, right? If you're in the second player or in the first player, you may have a different time of when your interest showing up, which I think gives some cool cinematic, right? It's still the same interest, just you might see your part at a different time based on where you're at, right? Based if you're player 1, player 2. But it makes it generic because it doesn't matter who you're playing with, it will always be the same intro. It won't be like they're fighting with each other. It won't be no clashes, no cinematic actions or anything that we're known for world building characters, right? Supposedly it's a rich story, right? So represent that rich story into the intros, you know, if that's what they're going for. That's the only thing I can say about Roundstar and windscreen visual.
Yeah.
Visual directions and camera movement, I think is
the only time it weirds me out is when you win and it does that weird 3D turn stop, 3D turn stop. Like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
When you get the last hit.
Oh yeah.
Slash, and it's like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Everything else didn't bother me. It's just
to let
that,
you know you
that
won.
was just weird. It looks weird. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm like, it could be better because it looks a little weird to me personally.
So
but I don't mind it. I don't care. I'm just saying, if somebody asks me about it, it looks a little weird. But I wouldn't really bring it up.
Something about it, yeah.
Something about it's a little weird.
The battle effect is the one that I want to tie up with this whole thing. So battle effects, it's a little bit higher than visual directions, a little bit lower than screen visuals, lower than stage graphics, lower than character animation, characters visuals. So what they're saying is projectiles, flames,
Particle effects,
poison, all these things.
words on the screen, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Counter, right? The thing. That's the only thing is a little bit inconsistent to me. So unless they're really targeting heavy onto the big counter and the big numbers, which I barely see them, to be honest now. I know it sounds crazy, but once you start fighting, it just blends in.
I hear it more than seeing it.
Yeah.
Counter. Oh, got him. It's like counter. Oh, I was mashing.
Like,
I gotta stop.
It's like you fished it. Oh, we got him. So I didn't thought about that, but I guess you brought up maybe it could be the worst on the game. Maybe it could be the life bar. But no, battle effects cannot be that. Like the UI cannot be that, right?
I don't know. I think
has to be like
people
projectiles.
could easily think that that's what they meant.
Yeah, because
There's an effect during battle.
The flame looks insane, and if you really thought that XR has amazing projectiles, animations, and graphics, revisit it. It's not that it's bad, and watch Gunflame of Soul and Gunflame of Soul and Strife, dude. And dude, the flame, how it spread out, and then on the top, how it burns, and then how it fades out and it blurs out a little bit of the background because flame and heat does.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, dude. It's incredible. But maybe it could be that they're thinking that battle effects are something else. I personally feel that should be way higher. If character visuals and character animations are higher, those things fall hand to hand, right? Like you're not gonna have a character visual look how they are and animate the way they are, and then do Minecraft attacks, right? Like blocky attacks. It's not gonna look like that. So it's gonna follow the same art style. So I'm a little bit confused. They even changed Kai. I remember I mentioned to you in the first beta, his projectile was very blue and very neon and very like, oh, this is very bright. And they changed it to yellow, right? So it was yellow, and I was like, oh, did they change Kai projectile color? I was like, I guess so. And then it was more yellow. I was like, oh, it's better to see it in the scramble, right? Because you also get this electricity debuff from you. So maybe that was easier to see his cross star thing that he does in the air, or his big projectile, small projectile between all the other things.
And there's like the smart things that they're doing, like the subtle things, like I mentioned, like Axel has his skinny little chain, scythe or whatever. And I was like, hey, dude, look, he has a green gleam at the end of his scythe as a visual, so that if people catch on, are wondering how far it goes or why it hit me, if he whiffs it, you can tell how far it goes in the match. If you're a new person, you know what I mean? Like they're seeing visually, this green thing is what hit me.
Little visual cues put in there, right? For that specific people, to make it less frustrating to the unknown, right?
Yeah.
Giving you the right information, not all the information, but some of the right information that's gonna make you, oh, okay, this is what's happening, right? So that's what I'm thinking, that like even when you do Roman cancel, right? You see a big clock and then it stops, and then clock, what does that mean in your head? Clock means time. Oh, the game is pausing. It's just they didn't have to have that clock emotion there.
That clock is smart too.
Yep, that's what it's there for. It's just showing you those.
Like it's gonna go hand in hand. Like maybe if that clock wasn't there, people are less likely to figure out that time has slowed, or you have extra time for something.
You move really fast.
Yeah.
It's slow. No, but time being there physically, the clock, it just basically shows that something has to do with time.
It has an audio cue too.
Yep. And a very dominant visual cue. Like you see shadows and you see stuff like that. But the clock was the one that stand out for me the most. And then BGM, look how high it is. After people complaining that it's not Guilty Gear music.
You battle system.
Oh, I did. I thought that was what I was talking about.
You were talking about battle effects.
Battle effects, sorry. And the Roman, sorry, I confused. The battle effect, the battle system I was talking about was with the Roman cancel. I was getting into that. So Roman cancel, which is very smart, right? It's a very niche. I'm gonna say it's a very niche system that is not known over in other games, right? In other games, you have your sweep, you have your grabs, you have your anti-airs, your air grabs probably, and projectiles, right? Roman cancel feels very unique, very niche, right? Like maybe other games have cancel, but in this game is very predominant in how much better it can help you, right, in the game. And in this game, for me, it feels like it's easier to use, because you can use it defensively, you can use it aggressively, you can use it for movement, right, like every other game, but you needed to know why you needed to use it there. In here, it's just flat out you do it, and then it feels like you're doing something. An example, You're
Yeah.
playing Strife, and you throw a projectile, and you do a Roman cancel. Your character flashes for less than a millisecond to let you know that you did a Roman cancel, which means that you cancel your move, and then
Yeah.
you start moving everything. This game pauses. So
Mm-hmm.
when you throw the projectile, and then in the XR also there's a slow time thing. But it slows for such a small time, dude. But now here, when you do that, the character does an animation, and that it shows you that it's doing that. Plus, it allows you in the mix of the battle to be like, oh, that's a hit confirm, right?
Yeah.
Easier for you, for the person that probably is not as veteran as others, to be able to still go in hand to hand with you with those type of actions. If not, it's just gonna feel very one sided. The one that knows Roman cancel and the one that doesn't, right?
Yeah.
It not having Gatling combo, which means that you can change every hit with every other, like a light, medium, heavy to high to heavy to medium, light, or whatever the case may be. I still didn't feel limited. I feel like I just had to find a different way to do that. It just felt, it made me actually, to be honest, it was actually better in a way to make me try to learn something.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, well, what do I do? And then I start pressing button. It's just
Like
this.
I'm used to stringing a certain way in other fighting games, but now I need to figure out a different way.
Yeah.
I can't just do this. I got to figure out a different way to play neutral.
Correct. And I go, it's a little bit far-fetched, a little bit back for another game, but if you go to Tekken or Soul Calibur, you press buttons or Dragon Ball and things happens, but you don't know why you did that. You don't know why that connected to that because you just pressing stuff. If you're like a very, very new to the game. In here, if you start pressing light, maybe you might not do combo to each other, but then you did medium to light, to heavy, and I was like, oh, those combos. So maybe I want to try to do those more.
Yeah.
It's just immediately is telling you that information in the game instead of being like, well, I just hit him a bunch of times and then he did this combo and then he super dashed to him and then no, you need to, in a way, they're taking the training wheel so you can not force yourself, but maybe stimulate yourself to learn something else. That's how I see it.
I like the battle system.
Yeah, the wall bounce and all that stuff, the things they integrated, I think it feels fresh. It feels new.
A lot of people, it's so weird, right? Because a lot of people don't like the wall because it resets everything. And it's almost like, the veterans.
Yeah, they
purists. They don't like it because they're used to being able to apply their pressure for the rest of the game. If they get that, almost like a checkmate. Did I get that checkmate? It's still my turn. I can still keep my turn. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. This is how I want to play the game. But they have to take into account, again, this is not made for you. People don't like let's say in Power Rangers. Nobody's going to want to be if you're first coming into there and you're going, the game is simple enough. Everything, like the tutorial's good. Everything's simple, easy to understand. But if you go online that first time and you happen to match up with someone who knows the game and you're getting comboed for 30 seconds at a time, losing one complete character, that is very off-putting for somebody new.
Yeah, it's very heartbreaking.
So certain things like that, like getting to be in a corner, it's mentally could break somebody new. And if you're a veteran, you just have to
find a way
for it not to mentally break you because you're the fucking veteran. So what if that happened? You know the situation. Yeah, find a different way around it. This isn't how it works anymore. I was Potemkin. I finally cornered Axel. I got him one time to and this is my demon Axel in the game. I want to play him the next beta. I got him to a point where I finally cornered him and I did a combo that I did a lot of high damage and I was losing. But because I was winning technically that exchange and he could have stayed in the corner, he happened to get back into a range that was optimal to him and I lost the round. In my head, I'm not frustrated about that. In my head, I'm going, all right, I need to find a different way to approach this the next time this happens. This isn't just going to be you're in the corner, that's it. You win the game. This isn't something like, if you want that, pick another game because you're going to have to work around the wall. The wall is the new mechanic for this.
Breaking.
Yeah.
or not, right? Like there's ways to not break the game, break the wall, right?
Yeah.
There's things, but then again, it eventually will happen in a match, right? Because you might get the hit. Plus you gain meter. They did mention they're gonna tweak into that, gaining meter, lowering the damage because battle system goes into the damage, right?
Well, and they mentioned that they're gonna gauge how easy some things are can be comboed into compared to
Correct.
how hard some things can be comboed into, and adjusting the amount of damage you do like that, which I really like.
Because they want to reward you. They
Yeah.
want to reward you for doing those things
So-
and not be too exploited. I don't know if that's the word. To exploit those things that they're more easier to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, because then it becomes stagnant.
Yeah, and
Then
then
it becomes that's the only thing to do.
and then another thing I like about the battle system that people like have it that's so, polarizing or whatever
Mega Pisto.
is damage.
Yeah. I
You
love it.
you want games to be fast. You want games to be short because of netcode, right? There's less reason to be mad about a game not feeling good if it's short, no matter what.
Yeah.
You don't want somebody comboed forever because that's frustrating to new players.
Yeah.
And newer players can feel like they always have a chance because straight hits or whatever, and there's always a janky way of something happening that could be funny or something like that for somebody to edge out a win. But that doesn't mean that it should. I just don't feel like it'll still matter at the end of the day if you yourself consider yourself a top player that is having to deal with a different way of having a fight in a game.
I agree. Especially think about this thing once again, following the theme of this is for most people, right? They're trying to make it for the most people they can. If the damage is even though they already mentioned they're gonna adjust the damage, but if the damage stays in somewhat how it is now, right? That it
They
is a
want it high.
damaging
They
game.
mentioned they want we designed this for high damage.
Correct. They said they said the damage is too high. They're gonna lower, but they're still gonna keep the theme of being a high damage game, right? They also, what I'm thinking is, if you're a new player or not as experienced as legacy players, and you in the route of of learning the game, getting better, maybe that damage is the one that's gonna help you. Maybe
Yeah.
that damage is gonna technically it's not doing nothing unfair because you also have the opponent have the same damage as you. It depends on the character, whatever the case may be. So it's not something that is unfair. You both playing on the same ground. It's just who can utilize that the most or the better for their advantage.
I
you know?
think high damage too also helps you feel like you always have a chance.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm
'Cause,
trying to mean. You definitely took the words out of my mouth.
And,
Like you
I
always
li-
have a chance.
Yeah, let me give an example. There's the other Guilty Gear. When I watch it, there was this one. I think it was Defending North. We were watching top 8 of Guilty Gear before or something else. It's a little less hype to see like how the gut system works in that game because it scales so heavy. And it feels like you get to a point where you're in your brain, if you're not familiar with the game, you're going, oh shit, this guy's going to die in like one hit.
He's gonna kill me
Okay,
now.
this guy needed 5 hits to kill him. So like game really starts when you're like at 30% health. Okay, I get it now. But it like kind of takes away from the flow of tension. Like that tension for the audience and the player. And there is guts in this game, but it's not as crazy. And then there's games like Injustice, I think it was part 1 or part 2, both of them, where let's say you're down, but they have 2 bars. Let's say you get completely destroyed with a perfect, and it doesn't restart the round. You have to get 2 bars of that other guy down. That's
It's like
really,
AI.
really mentally
Frustrating.
breaking for somebody trying to play the game.
KI had that from the beginning. It was very innovative when it came out, but I can definitely see like, dude, I still gotta kill the other bar, bro. The whole bar,
Yeah.
the whole thing. Like, yeah, but it's a round. No, it's the bar.
Yeah, that whole bar, dude. You don't understand.
But yeah, I think it's a controversial thing, but I think I like that they kept the foot down with no. This is what we want. This is the damage is high. This is what we want to do.
Yeah. Sound effects we kind of touched on already, so we don't have to really talk about that when we
No,
talked
and
about the
voices
effects.
too.
Voices,
they say it's gonna be in English. So.
That's positive. English voices are positive. That's one of those things where it's like art. People like them, people don't like them. It's your preference. You got a choice to put it in Japanese, put it in English. There's always gonna be really gifted voice actors in these kind of projects that people fanboy over.
I like that they're bringing more English voice actors because, to be honest, sometimes people don't play the game because it doesn't have the language
Yeah.
that is native to them.
Yeah.
I know there's many other languages, but at least in this game,
Yeah. And it's true too, because like when you think about the Grand Blue videos that I've made, I'm from America, right? And I put them up. All the majority of the people that watch the videos watch the English ones, even though there's those set people that just can't stand them. You know, they only want to hear the Japanese versions, the Japanese voices.
Yeah,
But
and it could be the other way around too.
yeah,
There's people that can't stand the Japanese voices, right? Like,
they are,
hey, why put it in English?
especially younger kids like Eli and Haley, my two stepchildren. Like they've recently gotten into anime, but they don't want to read it. You know, they want to listen to the voice actors, and they're fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting, right? Because that was the thing. If you didn't have it in Japanese, then what are you playing? You know. I play Dragon Ball sometimes the most in English.
Yeah.
To be honest, because I heard it the most in Japanese. That is the only reason. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like it play it in Japanese, but I want to hear it in English sometimes. Yeah.
I remember growing up, I was listening to anytime I had it on TV, like it'd be on English, so I got used to that. But then when I started getting like the bootleg seasons of Dragon Ball in VHS, it was all in Japanese, so I had to reaccustom myself. I was like, why is Goku sound like an old lady? And then I come to find out, I find out years later, I'm like, oh, this is an old lady? Goku's actually old. Okay, makes sense now. But then I got used to that voice, so I'm used to the Japanese Dragon Ball now because I've permanently. It all depends on, your background on what you're used to listening to. You want to listen to your own language or something else? Background music, BGM. Well, I would say that I fall in line with. I like a lot of songs, and I like a lot of them those songs to be randomized, if there's an option for it, and I don't prefer lyrics. So if they if they do decide to do this, it would be good for me personally, since I don't like hearing lyrics over and over again, to have lyricless versions of the same songs at least. And I know they've already mentioned that they're going to have available to unlock like more music from the previous Guilty Gear games. So that's going to be good.
The only way you're going to get the non-lyric versions of the games, right? I mean, of that is just a different song. I don't think it's going to be like the same song. I would love to have not a cappella, whatever instrumental version of those songs would be really cool. It would be so cool, dude.
Yeah.
But maybe that takes work, right? Maybe they cannot divide that track in some way or something.
So it's not that hard.
But
I would say anything legal might be a little difficult.
No,
but
he needs to speak there.
Yeah, somebody might be weird about it, but it's just basically like using a program to separate the video, the vocal audio and the track. So
I like that they still give us an option. Hey, for game currency, you'll be able to unlock the other songs and other things.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. That's a good idea.
That gives you a clue into there being game currency to earn in this one too.
You know how they're gonna get the currency? Playing the freaking game, right? There you go. It's fine.
Yeah.
Once again, most of successful games that you can get their skins or something else is playing the game, getting the currency.
People
of the game.
love cosmetics.
Yep, or maybe spending money, but if not, then playing the game I think is the right direction for that.
So music I'm fine with. Just like for me personally, like even if I love the song, I have my training room with no music. I can't hear it over and over again. Usually if I'm in the training room, I'm listening to something else, listening to a podcast or half watching a show that I'm only half, like I'm doing something else that's not listening to the same song over and over again. Like if I was in training room and they allow me to listen to the entire OST, like it doesn't, like the song doesn't loop it over itself, it just goes to the next song, that would be great. I would then have that playing. I think that would be cool. I put it mute.
But I don't think that's happening though.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening. Sound effects, I think they sound great to me. Sound effects for me can be a hit or miss too, because sound effects, like Marvel vs. Capcom, the first one, has very exaggerated sound effects, like the hits and all that stuff, and I love that. But I feel like the game has the sound effects accordingly to what the theme of the game is. The explosions are quite loud, and the sizzling or lightning or whatever the case is that a special effect does matches to what they're doing. Like the dolphins in the water, you hear the splash and all that stuff. I think it sounds good.
Feels good too, because there's like little the screen shakes a little to go with the music. I mean, to go with the sound effects. Like if you're punching somebody with soul, it looks like it hurts. Like a lot of things look like they hurt,
And also for audio cue, right?
Yeah.
Counter, like all that stuff that helps. I think for me, it was great for them to put it really out there. Not be timid about it in terms of like, look, this is what happened. Yeah, Guilty Gear always had this counter sound. and it's always being dominant. But I'm glad that they stood with that. But also, the Roman cancel has a very unique sound now, right? Like it sounds like something is turning or something is starting, and that what is happening? And as a spectator, you hear that and see that together with what is happening. It is good. It feels good and it looks good.
One of the things back to that that top 8. Remember, we watched in Defender North when we were just part of the audience. Vanessa was next to me, and this always stuck with me from that day. She said, "This game looks really pretty, even though I have no idea what's going on." You know what I mean? And this is from someone that watches us play fighting games every now and then,
knows about fighting
and has helped us with like local tournaments and shit like that, and all these other things. So she's been on the sidelines, so she has a certain understanding of what's going on. She did not understand any of like any kind of flashing
like
or blinking or who's doing what's the game plan for both characters or anything like that. Like it was just too much going on, and that's from the UI too. This extravagant, the meter and the peoples and all that stuff all blending into the very detailed background and the very detailed characters and very detailed animations, doing a variety of different moves
and graphs.
So all these things are going on, and a casual person that's just viewing it might get a little lost.
I'm more than lost, I would say, but I think, when you have a big counter on your screen and the screen shakes.
Oh, that's like seeing a haymaker in boxing. Oh, they got hit. They got hit hard.
Or when they see them going through the screen to another stage.
Yeah.
Oh, he hit him that hard.
Guy's in trouble. Exactly. Damn, he got hit.
So actually, that sound effect also is really cool, right? The glass breaking, you're falling and the hits and stuff like that. I think those go well. Once again, things that I think that should be higher, but I think once people start opening their eyes and why they're doing these things and the concept of the overall thing goes together and why they're doing this thing, it's not just because you like it, it's for a specific reason. Then maybe they'll be more susceptible to be like, oh, so then if that is the reason, then I think it's very good, right? Once again, everyone's entitled for their opinion. I just feel like try to sit back and think about why they're doing these things, right? You as a player count. You are a fan and you count at all. Absolutely, you count a lot. But you also have to take consideration there's other people that are not you that also are potentially going to get this game. And those are also target for this game. So there you go. Those are the things that are put into place.
Is in terms of battle system, was there anything you didn't like?
That's a good question. I didn't like how strong the grabs were. I feel like they were very rival school.
Normal grabs, not command grabs.
Normal grabs.
That's exactly.
Command grabs feels weak.
That is exactly what I was gonna say. That's the only thing that bothered me was not being able to see a grab.
No,
like
the grab. Yeah,
like the animation feels like it. Like they had this one Mortal Kombat guy come to the office and go, "Hey, you're from Mortal Kombat, right? You want to do a thing for the game? Do our normal grabs." And then it's like the animation, you can't see the startup.
We had the Smash Brothers 64 guy, but he quit on us. Get good, don't get grabbed. But command grabs are much weaker. You'd be like, well, Potemkin can do so much damage. Okay, fine. Let me tell you an example. Sato has a command grab that leads to less damage than what will you do on a regular grab that does a little bit less damage, right, in overall, but can lead to much more, and you're safer. You can get it for many different routes, to grab more chances. While his command grab, you need to spend meter to get something out of it. You get me?
Yeah.
Like it just didn't feel rewarded. It's not the damage is not high enough to compensate. Why would I even? Marlon Pie is a very successful Sato player in the previous games, right? And he was playing this, and he was like, "Wait, why am I doing a command grab?" He was like, and then he started exploring reasons, and he was like, "No, it doesn't feel worth it." I was like, I guess so much more of this, and I can regular grab more out of more situations than this command grab that if I miss, think about it, if I miss, I get punished. The other grab, you don't.
And you recover. It's like, it feels super safe because it comes out of nowhere and you're already safe.
Yeah.
And then you could actually Roman cancel off of that too.
Yep. And so I just feel that maybe if they can tweak that, maybe leave the same speed, but make it the regular command grabs more rewarding, I just feel like make it more out of it,
Yeah.
Once again, not every character has a command grab, but it just doesn't feel as strong as a regular grab. So why would I do that?
Yeah. It's like an entire motion as opposed to pressing one button. Like
Correct.
A direction and a button
You can
instead of
spam.
like doing
You
like
can
a whole
spam
half
that button while
circle,
grabbing.
back forward, and then there's more recovery off of the command grab too.
That's the point.
And people really see you miss that because your character goes, whoop, I missed the command grab.
Hit me. Counter. Yeah, I just think that it's something that maybe they should tweak. Maybe the grabs, maybe other stuff. They mentioned this a lot of jumping. I just felt the jumping lights were strong, but I didn't feel they were invincible, right? I felt there was ways to counter about it. And I actually had a couple of matches when I paced myself against someone doing this jumping light. I was like, oh, I'm hitting him. I'm snuffing him out. I'm doing this thing, snuffing him out. And it took me to stand back instead of challenging to figure out how to approach it, right? So my opinion, I disagree. Jumping are too strong. Maybe too strong to get away of O keys and setups, but then again, that's not the theme of this game.
I can't really say because I was playing
Characters don't
Potemkin.
jump.
I was playing Potemkin, and everything he threw eventually was an anti-air in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, so it don't matter. Hit him.
Yeah. There was one time I did a crouch kick, and it was like anti-air something. I was like, okay, that's the
like
thing.
A SAM shooting planes out of
Every button I hit in neutral was an anti-air at some point in time.
Well, it makes sense, right? Think about this. You're a gigantic ass character, so anything you hit is gonna sway the sky.
I mean, that's why I pick them, the big buttons. I barely command grab with them.
I mean, you would probably his command grab is good. His command grab. I'm not even gonna play.
I consider his command grab his third super. How much damage that does. I don't got an SPD in the ground, but that's like a super SPD or whatever. But that feels like it.
You do have it without meter.
Yeah, with no meter. Just
but I just think that maybe they should switch that, right? Maybe tweak some little bit of those grabs. Maybe someone can say something about it. Maybe people won't say it because they like getting away with it,
Yeah.
Because the only complaint was jumping is too strong. And then the last part, unless you have anything to say, was just how the online battle was, right? How comfortable was the online battle, which is probably was most predominant with 60, almost 70%, right? Thanks to rollback, which is a big controversy, I would say, because now that people tasted the Kool-Aid of rollback, other games don't feel the same, right? We have friends that, older games that they play now, it's just they're not motivating when they know that they could be better. It could be experienced better, right?
Yeah.
So this is a great thing. If I'm not saying they're the pioneers, but they had the better impact on their game that others have when it comes to rollback, right? Because other games have rollbacks before, MVCI and blah, blah, blah. But this game, I guess, them changing their netcode and explicitly saying we're changing the netcode because of whatever the case may be, and then being as good. Correct. I don't want to say because people say they bully them into that.
But it made sense. You know what I mean? They did a very business like thing, a smart business thing, where is like they took it into account. Whoever was in charge of the Twitter or whatever or all of this data goes, hey guys, they're really pushing for this. Why are they pushing for that? Dude, because apparently what we've been doing kind of sucks. Look at all these games that people just stopped playing.
Yeah.
Look
at previous games.
Yeah, it might be because the internet's not so great. Well, what's good internet? Let's research it. Right? And then they're all figuring it out for a while until they finally was like, all right, we're trying to get this. And they're all open enough to be like, we're trying to get this done, but it's a lot of hard work. Give us some time. We can't do it this beta, maybe next beta, and all this other stuff. But at least they assessed their situation, thought it was important enough to make their product a success for the future.
And it was a success, dude. The big success it was.
Because even with what they said about rollback, people were surprised at how good it was.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
And it was like an introduction to rollback.
Yeah.
To be honest. Like an introduction to people that maybe they didn't know about it. Oh, this feels so good. Oh, that's rollback. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like it. And that's great. Because they did try to promote the rollback with their older game, which I think it was a good strategy. And the game sold well and people started playing. Numbers were skyrocketing. I think once again the Twitter guy was like, yo, everyone is saying they like the game that we put rollback in it. Maybe if we put in our game.
I saw a video. I think his name is Shin Kensu. You know him, right? And he plays usually anime and stuff, right? I was surprised at how he got, because usually he looks like he's half asleep listening to himself. You know, he's kind of like a very monotone kind of guy. I get like that too sometimes, but I'm used to him being that way, and he was getting pretty emotional that after all these years of playing fighting games and having a very critical part of it being locked away, like be open to him. He said he's got really emotional about being able to play friends and other countries and all that stuff like comfortably, because it's just something that wasn't available to the community. And in one way, you know, it makes the community strong when it comes to grassroots tournaments and all that stuff. Maybe in some way it made that culture from the fighting game community stronger, but it definitely hurt us as a community growing overall, because there's not people that want to go into it because they didn't take into account how important it was.
And a perfect example, Street Fighter 5.
Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, no, but the more Street Fighter 5 because someone took their personal time that no one forced him to do to make the netcode better. And Capcom deliberately attempted to make it better, remove his, and it still was worse.
Yeah.
That's not the right approach towards a solution. Look at that.
Well, in their defense, like, he made it better for PC people, and there's cross play, so like it made things work for PlayStation people. But it's not a good direction, because Capcom could have been like, all right, with what this guy did, let's see if we can figure out a way to get this going universally.
Correct. Once again, this is more like saying, and obviously I agree with you, but that one part got handled while the other one got better. But this is a person that has no affiliation with the game itself, right? This person that did it for their own personal time to enhance an experience for himself and for most people that play the game. And for the company itself to be like, nah, you know what? Everyone needs to suffer, not just some of them.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right, bro.
But to be honest, like, you know, there's years and years of development that we're not seeing. So in their head, this came at a time where they're probably like, dude, we gotta focus on 6. Come on. Don't tell anybody we're focusing on 6. But
I disagree because there's still seasons for Street Fighter 5, dude.
Well, they didn't even. This past season wasn't even supposed to be a thing.
Yeah, but come on, dude. Let's see, there's still these characters. They did not just end up happening. So I'm thinking that was still a project into blueprints in some form or way, and for them to, they already had a game established for 3 to 4 years, already making this game, building the game, putting content into the game to make it better. How can you not consider the thing that people are screaming and shouting to you that they needs to be fixed?
But also in the back of their head, they're going, but we have rollback. Because technically they do. It's just a shitty version. Whoever did it didn't do such a great job.
Rollback.
Yeah, they had, but in the back of their minds, they're going, well, these people are complaining that we don't have good netcode. What are they talking about? We have rollback. Like the other games that have rollback. We put it in there. But it wasn't even implemented well until MVCI.
The right way. Yep. And it took, that's what I'm saying, and it took for a company, once again, not saying it's the first one, but it took for Arc System to be like, let's put in a game that a lot of people love. Let's reintroduce it with this software, with rollback, and let's see how they react. Super successful. Okay, so then they're gonna be more, willing to put it into their brand new game if people are buying and playing the game. Like, how can that not mix? They didn't work like, well, it was successful, but you know what? We're gonna go with a different type of version of this. We're gonna go with a different non-rollback. We're gonna go with a delay-based netcode that we figure it will be good. No, they didn't do that. They were like, this works, so we're gonna bring the best version that we can into this game. That's how you try to build into something, and I think that's what gained them so much popularity, in comparison, contrast to all the other ones. And look at SNK, and it just feels like why took. I don't want to sound like that because I don't really know what's going on, but it didn't feel like there was that communication between consumers and publishers.
It's a really weird disconnect to have for me. Yeah. For there to be an industry where gaming is big and you're not paying attention to what the crucial parts of games make them last a long time, make them popular, make you money. And one of the biggest things is being able to play them online. Yeah. Like, it makes me feel like these dudes making them
and then
never really played their own games to go, damn, this kind of sucks.
Exactly.
We're slated to do another version of this, right? All right, let's figure out how to make this not suck as much. You know, it didn't feel like there was it felt like there was no option in the back of their head to try and strive to do better things when it comes to that.
Strive.
Oh, he says it's like when they say the name of the movie in a movie.
Yeah, you said it. I agree with you, dude, and I hope that maybe, I think this was like a very in their face type of thing. Look, it's successful to the game, people loving it, Twitter, every social media is talking about it, loving it, everything, hindering even other games that don't have it. So it's making such a huge impact that I don't think now they cannot ignore it.
People are openly sad that they can't play the game anymore.
yes 56 days to strive or something. I just feel that they did the right choice, and this is the first step into the new fighting game era, right? Remember, we were stagnant, we're in this cocoon phase, and I think this is the first step to start breaking from that, and I'm excited. I hope that the next beta that they're potentially mentioning, you know, it just brings more of this community feedback, dude, and I think that's awesome, man. I just feel like it's time to be excited. It's time to, because things moving forward, you know, we're gonna get more games, and it feels more that bridge of communication is being more open between developers and buyers or fans or whatever. So maybe that's gonna get a better influence on them than it was for many years ago, 10 to 15. So that's why we have this developer backyard things. They're so cool, you know. They're literally a direction to us to talk and dwell and talk about the future of what is gonna be. So we are a reflection of that. So let's be constructive when we do this, you know, do those surveys, don't forget about them, you know, and always be mindful that it's you as a person matter, but there's also more that matters to doing into this, right? And I think that's the best way to look at into it.
Yeah. I don't know. This game feels like there's a lot of hard work getting put into it. And
absolutely.
There's a lot of trying to make things right as well. If they do make any mistakes, or if they do fail at certain things, there's an awareness of how people see the game, you know.
Yep. I'm gonna be as bold as to say that, and I know you can say that for many things, but if this game is not successful, you're not gonna see a Guilty Gear. It's gonna get cut, bro.
Yeah,
cut.
Definitely, because this is the one that they're doing all these things to make sure that the public sees it out in the forefront. They're doing things to communicate. They're doing things to show the game. There's more ways to get to the game before the game comes out. It's in a good spot because they're the first rollback game, next gen rollback game that's coming out. So there's a lot more eyes on this game than the previous titles, like by far.
Dude, them succeeding will be so amazing, because then this is gonna skylight to every other publisher, and it's gonna be like, you see, I want money. What they're doing.
We gotta follow suit. We gotta take all these things that these guys took into consideration with their game, with ours now, because we can't just shit out a product early and hope that just character passes help give us money for the next 2 years.
Or legacy, you know, carry on.
Legacy's gonna carry us. We could trim a little excess stuff that we're using financially on this game
to make a billboard commercial about something 3D that spent thousands of millions of dollars. That pisses me off.
Whatever the case, we're excited for Guilty Gear. This is really cool that they're doing these developer updates. You know, I wonder if they're still gonna continue after the game's releases and their seasons and all this other stuff. Like what reason do they still have to do these after the game's released? That would be interesting to see. And we're excited for the game. The game is like a month away, something like that. So we'll see you online.
Absolutely.
We'll see you
there. Let us know what you guys think about the update or your beta experience. Let us know.